There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from.
From the west coast to up out of space, into the G code, Buck Roger dates. Last trait, genetic modified homicide. Digital gangbang, the fake wanna ride. Hiding behind your screen to get your soul clean. LPI and IP for the foul delete. You smell foul to me, feeling hella ornery. I detest the scent stench of the cowardly. Address the message in the second with an old weapon. Laser beam speed with a flying guillotine. Take your head, man, I come behind many G's. Forever be where I'm from to my enemies. Fratricide that I ride for my nigga, please. Rite of passage to last, get the winning breed. Who we waiting on, the Jesus, us. You witness the Holy Spirit when we squeeze and bust a nut. Up with the influx of chucks. Buck dancing in a trance like who giving a fuck. Hit 'em up like what's up, this is such and such.
There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from.
You can run, but you can't hide. You might as well bail and accept life or death from the sunlight. You kept up and Trump tight, the gangster hip hop. Bit bop, he switched up, caught him slipping in his flip flops. Get pushed off the map with your whack raps, mumbling and conjuring and summering a rap pack. The industry fitted G's taking rap back. We ain't in line or intertwined with your contracts. And we open for recruitment in the movement. The only ones in our communion that's gon' do shit.
And yes, we do this the Wild Wild West way. Better have your chips like Frito-Lay. Watch what you say, cause we don't play. Roll the dice, hope for Christ, or you see the poltergeist. I take what I like, cause it sure look nice. Living life under the lights, show you right. Fuck all that barking, you only eat when you bite. We the creep to the night, we speak into life. When we reach for the mic, blast it on sight. Muscle and might, brothers of the struggle, hustle and fight.
There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from.
Father divine, Optimus Prime, and Decepticon, be alarmed about this Vietnam. Squeezing arms under trees this palm. Expertise with the gangsters, so please keep calm. Anybody can get touched, don't get me wrong. Them gray hairs be stripes when you survive this long. Scotch too strong, watch how you hit the bottle. Bandanas out the window when I hit the throttle. Hit the gelato, sit on four Giados. Unknown desperado, good fellows, mafioso, the motto. What is substance with you little niggas that's hollow? Swag can't be copied and souls can't be borrowed. You become a catch part when you start to follow. Casino, Las Vegas, and Chicago. Mission impossible, so you niggas have got to know that there's a war going on outside and you'll die once you doubt your pride. When you divide homicide, there's a homie by your side. Welcome to the grind, keep your money on your mind.
There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from.
There's rules on the street, of blood pools for your feet. Gotta protect your jewelry, the rules are nothing new to me. Better keep the toolery for a nigga's foolery. It's cool to see niggas on the come up nowadays. Niggas run up cause they seen my face on the internet. I've been a vet in this game. Every year a different gear as I'm switching my lanes. Better look out for the native with immaculate aim. You watch, then I create my nigga, we not the same. So looky here and be game. Please refrain from acting like we homies. This is a mirror to Scarface. Yes, this solo Tony. Unless it's dollars, I will not be conversation holding. As I'm not the one for loading. Sign some signatures and keep on rolling. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet, nigga. They say where'd he go? That Red Bull got rings. I got some homies coming to town, so I pull me some strings. Got a host with the shine on my rims and on my rings. 15s in the trunk. Make the hummingbird sing for the illustrious king. Fly my hoes in and out, I don't fuck with no fling. Barely show my face cause niggas already know what I bring. Best way to be the case is to make them all dream. With an extra magazine, they act like I'm the police, they scatter like fiends. Sometimes you not invited cause your shit be too clean. Subconsciously, everybody gonna wanna compete. That's from the closest homie you know to strangers on the street.
I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet. I said there's rules on the street or blood pools for your feet, nigga.
Good day to the folk, to the money religion folk. What's going down? Yeah, peace to Saint folk as well. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is the guy 720. As you already know, you are here at the Money Religion. Appreciate you for stopping by, spending some time with me today. Today, we're going to be talking about the war between reality and fantasy, because obviously it's getting very hardcore for a lot of people, me included. You understand? So that's what we're going to be going in on. Let me go ahead and put this up here. Right now, we got all 9 books, Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1, 2, and 3, The Black Man's Bible, The Ethereal Law, Paperback. All 5 of those come in paperback, and then we have the 4 ebooks for free, which is the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, Volume 1 and 2, The Real Nigga Etiquette, and also the Real Nigga Etiquette VooDoo Edition. All going for $100 right now. Purchase while it's hot, and it's going because I am running out, and that is the deal. Check out Millennium DVDs as well. We have all the black scholars on YouTube that it has been brought to my attention that they're all being taken down at this moment. So if you would like to preserve these scholars to your personal library, and especially for your children in the future, you need to go ahead and purchase now. I do have a lot of sales going for Millennium DVDs. It is negotiable, especially if you're spending well over $100 to $200. We can go ahead and design you, customize a package specifically for you. So as we see, it's really going down. Trump has put the foot up the ass of the world, as was needed. And the reason why it was needed is because over the past 4 years, actually last 20 years, we're going to get technical. Ever since the towers went down in 2001, we've been dealing with the social exception of a lot of bullshit. And this has been, bad decision making and the results thereof, which have stemmed over a large period of time. And the president-elect, Donald Trump, who was also our president prior, before Biden, but during that time period, he got hit with the COVID nonsense, and there wasn't much time to really focus on the negatives that we have going on with our government and how they've been spending our tax dollars. So after, the exploitation that we all experienced with Biden, and also those who were in sync with him, which are a lot of our social media apps and things of that nature, wanted to support backwardness. And it's very obvious that those at the top who have been studying psychology for eons, specifically Western culture, who have been taking notes on, sociology, they've developed a system of psychoanalysis and, other departments that are dealing with human behavior. They've been observing this stuff since, as I stated, ancient Greece. So they know the results of bad decision making, especially when it's done by mass. So they put these things in front of a lot of the naive population of America who aren't very well experienced with life. And also, if we're going to talk about our religions, who haven't really expressed, the the negative conclusions of a lot of backwards activity of us not treating each other with common courtesy. And they try to explain that in the area of you're going to hell, instead of telling you what's going to happen tomorrow versus the decisions that you make today. And also, they've kept away the closeness of or the details of the so-called dark one, the evil one, the red-eyed one, the devil. Okay. And that hasn't been in our religious platform here in America since we were children, for those who lived in the 90s and in the 80s and beyond backwards. Okay. We never got that. The most that the majority of us got was maybe our grandma calling everything the devil, and due to that fact, we're naive in our decision making, and we've left our decision making up to a lot of women who aren't experienced in the areas of having this type of responsibility for their decision, in the areas of decision making and the type of decisions they've had to make. Okay. And it's all led down some very dark road. And that's because you don't let a child drive a car. They don't have experience within driving a car. Therefore, they don't need to be making any decisions on if you need to be pressing on the brake, pressing on the gas, making a left, making a right. And this is just the bottom line of how the shit works. Okay. So a lot of the public have been making their decisions based on their personal feelings, their desires, what punches their nerves, their euphoria, and all of that has definitely left us in peril when it comes to our entire nation. A lot of dependency on hospitals and doctors who aren't thoroughly qualified to be in the positions that they are, and obviously due to corporate structure, they've been put in a position to just basically pump pills. Okay. And that's what's going on. I ran into many situations where 20-year-old kids, they tell me all the details about the Adderall and the Xanax and which one is meth or which one is crack or which one is this and which one is that. And the reason being is because their mothers had enforced the doctor to classify their child as sick and to also write prescriptions for drugs. And that is what you're looking at when you see a lot of these so-called crash outs, and these individuals aren't even past the age of 25 and they want to crash out because they understand that they're getting older and responsibilities are near. You definitely feel that energy at the age of 27, that you have to put yourself in some corporate title. You want to be in a career space for the rest of your days, and you're going to be dedicated to that one career space for the rest of your days, whether you like it or not. Whether you think you're retired, they're still going to call you in for questioning and overseeing and this and that, and that's usually how it works. You'll be labeled with that career title until you hit your casket. There really is no such thing as retirement, if you want to get extremely technical. And that's usually if you've evolved to the expert specialist type of zone, called on by your career. And a lot of us, especially from my generation, didn't go those routes because we were pumped with so much gangster defiance, and also, I guess, a disappointment from our parents and also from society, which defaulted into a depression from us not all of us being pushed into universities and things of that nature, and then them creating these false universities like a DeVry and things of that nature to plummet us into debt, which is it's all a big money grab scheme when we talk about the corporations and how things have been operating. So we've grown up with this defiance that's been unchecked by the public, have been unchecked by anybody else, because, you know, the Christian clause comes in is you are as you are, come as you are, you know, you keep your bad habits and all of that. Just don't let that shit show out in the public and don't bring it towards me. And that's basically what has happened. And, you know, we've watched the stock market crash. We've watched the home market crash. We've watched the government shut down 2-3 times. We've had all types of recession after recession after recession in our adulthood, those who were born in the 80s. And, you know, it doesn't leave us in a very good position to give our children anything that is reliable to you know, we've all are stuck in this Obama position of having hope. And we want to have hope and faith, and nobody knows where anything is going. And there's been a very big divide in between what reality is and what fantasy is. And, you know, the truth to the matter with the reality and the fantasy is that what keeps us in reality is paying bills. If we weren't paying bills, then we would be basically in a fantasy position, all of us, you know. And that's kind of scary, because it puts an allowance on the mind to think whatever you want to think. You could be petty, you could be coercive, you could be, you know, a habitual liar, you know, you could be in any space that you want to and think that you can do what you want to do, as what's been told to us by media, you know. And a lot of people have fallen down that route and have gotten some very nasty results from it, and it has spread like great plague, and it's time to clean it up. And the reasoning being is because it's not it doesn't fall into the areas of safety, you know. It leaves us all insecure in our positions and what's going to be happening tomorrow or what's going to be happening next year. We're definitely in a position where nobody could really paint a picture of what's going to be happening in their life within the next 3 to 4 years. We don't know. I've been hearing a lot of lists of what, you know, the Democrats have been spending our tax dollars on, which is insane, stupid shit. And it's very obvious that as an adult, we have a responsibility to stay on top of what's going on in our government. And the majority of us at around my age, 35 to around 45, we still want to party, and we want to avoid all areas of reality, you know, and hope we have a net of dependency amongst our friends and family where we can shuffle dollars around and take care of our bills here and there. You see what I'm saying? And that dependency is false, obviously. And this is what develops the whole thing of a crash out, where people can't really predict what's going on with the future, with their personal future. And they also can't predict. I mean, they can't. They don't have a system that they can rely upon, or the system that they have relied upon has now denied them. And you know, they weren't raised in an area of understanding authority or submitting to any form of authority, and they feel as if society needs to submit to them. So they go ahead and crash out, whether that crash out is either death or they go to a jail. And it's either going to be one or the other. And, you know, that's what they say about don't follow the gangster hustler lifestyle, because you're going to end either way it goes, you know. But the whole element of jail can be, you know, can be evaded, you know. But that's only if you're prepared for what's going to come with your responsibilities out here in the real world. And our social skills have been shot. And, you know, our social skills were actually fine in the 90s. And it was okay to have in-depth conversations with people. It was okay to, people had a sense of when you had an in-depth connection with somebody, you continued it on. People understood that there was possibilities for us to go ahead and make it to the top with that deep connection that you may have birthed with somebody. But nowadays, you know, people look at in-depth connections as a threat. It is a you know, to steer clear of that, you know, of thinking in such deep format. And there's reason to feel that you're trying to hustle them, or you're going to end up being victim, because your in-depthness also expresses that you have some form of intelligence or foresight that they may not be able to equalize with you on the same plane. So nowadays to have an in-depth conversation is like almost pointless, especially when it comes to new people that you meet. Everybody is in the area of keeping things light, but when it comes to developing a situation for some money, you're going to have an in-depth connection, just in case whatever may occur. You have a safety net there that is going to be that other person that you were in-depthly connected with. And there's some imano in the area of caring, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reality space. The reality space is that nobody wants to work a job, but you must make appear is to be in overload on your finances, and the only way to get in overload on your finances is you're going to have a team that develops some service or product, and you can be able to sell to the people. This is the bottom line to the situation. And that is the way you can get out of the hardcore realities and live in a so-called fantasy. Like I saw an individual the other day who bought his 16-year-old daughter a $500 million yacht. So that's big money if you can do something like that, and she gets to live in fantasy. She feels no pressure from bills, or sees no pressure from other individuals like a mate or whatever. The lack of pressure is what allows fantasy, and fantasy is really dangerous. To really get down to the nit grit of it, and when we observe tribes who are very minimal in their areas of the arts and craft, or development of inventions, or expansion and expression, especially expansion when it comes to creating both things. Survival, they live in a hardcore fantasy, you see, and that's where the mind is trying to battle right now. It's not good. It's not good. People are fighting over this space and don't know that that's what they're fighting over. The Republicans and the Democrats are fighting over this space, and they probably do know that's what they're fighting over, but they're not vocalizing that to the public because the public would know how to consume. Okay. It's very dangerous that our generation has been raised allowing for Comic-Con is just a fantasy, or even you becoming famous through the areas of art and talent is a fantasy for the majority. It is not a fantasy for those who are exercised in order to do that. It's very, very rare when you find individuals that are born with the skills to just accelerate in the areas of entertainment. But the majority of individuals, as we have now witnessed, are going to entertainment based off of nepotism or in college degrees and things of that nature. And they've been groomed their entire life to be and it's also the same with podcasts. People who watch podcasts think, oh yeah, I'm gonna go start a podcast too, and they end up wasting a lot of money trying to invest into a podcast situation, not even understanding that who is financing the podcast that they view, or the individuals that's posing the questions, or who's behind the cameras. The majority of those individuals are college educated. And that's why they knew how to put things together, where they put it up on the internet and it just immediately excelled. They knew what to do. And usually they do these things right after they graduate, or during the course of them in their senior year in the university, or them being an undergraduate, or whatever the case. And we see that with stories like Mark Zuckerberg, who invented Facebook and was still in college. You see what I'm saying? So don't get caught up with the fantasy and think that you were in the same capability space of what you see individuals doing things online, because you didn't educate yourself. And even if you did educate yourself, you got to be educated in specific areas. So I had to educate myself in the information for the book when pertaining to the Kicked Out of Heaven. Then I had to educate myself about the book industry. Then I had to educate myself about marketing and advertising and the SEO and all of this other shit. And it's a million hats that you have to wear. Okay, and that is the reality to the situation in order to bring in the shekels. You see what I'm saying? Now, there's a lot of individuals who think they can depend on, doctors and meds and their children and having dogs in the house. And I'm going to go to the Comic-Con. And right now, the number one attendees at Disney, actually individuals of my age group who are, single without children, but they're in love with Disney. Like, the way my brain works, I don't care where your dough is at or where your responsibility line is at or what you may have possessed or achieved over time. If you're a grown adult that's possessed with a Disney or Marvel Comics or Comic-Con or a bunch of shoes, or bro, you're a child in my sense of thinking. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're an embarrassment to my whole generation. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad, but this is what we're facing right now. We're facing 45-year-old individuals who's playing Dungeons and Dragons and shit all goddamn day and trying to ignore the world. Real men such as myself will never accept the fantasy realm of fucking sex robots and shit, like made robots and shit. What type of fucking trying to run away from the marathon in which you were born into, you think you're going to do, you're not going to be able to succeed in that light. And if you think you are, and if you go down that road, is definitely going to adjust your soul, adjust the brain waves, is going to adjust your behaviors, and you will end up being the great dweeb who is angry, and then you want to go shoot everything up, because you've been neglected in the reality world, and you actually turned yourself into a reject from reality. And we also have to watch this line here, because there's also a lot of parents out here who allow their children to be divided from reality, and then when they get hit with reality, when they have to go out there into the world, there's a great backfire that occurs. Okay, and this backfire is definitely has the potentiality to shut your whole world down, because the reality to the situation is, as an adult, one fucking decision can take you out for 10-20 years. It may take 10-20 years to clean up one bad decision you made. So you have to be very, very careful on how you operate. You know what I'm saying? I need some people up in the comments. What's going on here, man? Ask some questions. We free balling it today. Mention some things that you see within the war in between reality and fantasy, and how you're taking it on right now. Like, one area of fantasy that I see a lot of the females have developed over the years is this whole thing that they don't need men. And the reality to it is that all beings on this planet, male and female, need each other. They get with each other not only for survival purposes, but also to reproduce. That is a mandate. That is what you are biologically designed for. And that's also pertaining to the maintenance of your specific race. Okay. And this is just the way the thing is designed. If you want to play games with your own mind and act as if that's not part of the picture, then go ahead and you will find your results. You see? So women will always need men, and men will always need women, because that is the way the good Lord designed this whole picture that we're in, called planet Earth. And that's just the bottom line to it. Men have built everything. We maintain. Therefore, when your stuff breaks down, which it will, because a lot of the women aren't raised to understand the importance of maintenance. And when your things break down, as they will, you will call upon a man to fix your refrigerator, to fix your vehicle, to fix your cell phone, to fix your computer, to fix the shower head, to fix your plumbing, to fix your electricity. You will call on a man, so therefore you need a man. And if you hate men so much, then why do you operate with money? Because money is a green piece of paper with a picture of a man on it. You see? So let's deal with, the reality space here, and a lot of the whole anger thing will subsist. A lot of the confusion will subsist, as the definition of war is confusion. And a lot of people need to understand, especially my street niggas and niggas out there with the quote unquote ops and all this other shit, is that war is not based in killing. That is of the old world, and we no longer are in the old world. The basis of war is winning, and you can do this by manipulation. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, so killing is minimized on what ways you can go about it. Okay, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to get caught. When it comes to the wars in between nations, that is a thing that has been going on since, swords and horses. So, this is just what men do. This is just the reality to the world that we're in. There will always be homelessness. There will always be the conniving lawyer. There will always be the judge. There will always be the prostitute. There will always be the brothel. There will always be the policeman. There will always be the mailman. There will always be, some form of monetary system that's operating in order for you to buy groceries that you can't grow specifically, and this is the market. There will always be a stock market. These things are in place and can't be defeated. You understand? There will always be a value, a labor, wages, profit. These things are very serious and are to be taken serious, unless, you're a goofball. No woman ever respects a goofball. No woman will ever respect skinny jeans. No woman shit. And you have to understand that just because they don't respect it, it does not mean that they're not going to allow you to go ahead and operate, because a lot of women just don't want any problems about you, or they don't want to debate. So they're going to allow you to dress like a fool and look like a fool and do what the TV does. And they're not going to address it at all. Just like when Drake came out wearing a bunch of goddamn fingernail polish, the majority of the women that listened to his music for the past 10 years would look down upon any man who comes out with fingernail polish and barrettes in their hair. But when Drake did it, no women said anything, you see, because, they don't move that. They're going to let you do whatever clown shit you think is good for you. Do they respect that? No, they don't respect it, and they'll keep that in silence, so you'll be going around looking like a fool and not even knowing that everybody's looking at you like a fucking fool. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a crazy space. We have to, deal with the reality. The fantasy is the BBL. The fantasy is the makeup. The fantasy is the fingernails. The fantasy is, and all this nonsense. There's a reality that sort of merges into that room. A lot of girls will go ahead and gain all types of weight and then lose it so they can have the Coca-Cola, hourglass, figure 8 shape for their body, and sometimes that doesn't work out. This is just the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's very cold. It's a cold day in hell out here, and even when it comes to me with this reality versus fantasy, the YouTube is not necessarily a fantasy for me. I carry myself like this all the time. So, I speak like this all the time. So it's not really a fantasy, but the reality is that it's probably doing more harm than more assistance. I'm probably getting, and that's probably me myself, because I'm keeping it funky on who I am, which black males and the black male thought has been hated across this whole social media thing for damn near the majority of the whole experience, you know, especially when it gets reinforced by the ignorance that we see coming from rappers. It gets reinforced with these court situations with rappers, the murders, the overdoses, you know, the Negroes out here with the dreads and all of this other shit that end up on damn near every news thing you see, a news report of some idiot. Like there was this one situation that just happened in Florida. Dude was arguing with his baby moms. There was a baby in the back seat. I guess the baby was 8-month-old and it was crying. This nigga gets out the car, takes the baby out the car, puts the baby in the middle of the street, and then runs the baby over with the baby mama in the car. He ends up getting locked up. You know, the police chase him down and he gets locked up. The baby mama gets online saying, "Free my baby daddy." You know, like he was some great OG that just robbed 80 banks and was about to do the Robin Hood. No, that's not the case at all. This nigga ran over your 8-month-old baby and you saw it, and she chose to get online supporting the baby daddy. Like, what type of fucking nonsense are we dealing with? Now, is that a reality thinking mind frame or is that fantasy thinking? What do you know? Or there was another situation in Alabama where a dude found his girlfriend or something at her job, shot her up or whatever the case. She died. This nigga is on the news with an upside down cross in the middle of his forehead. Now, what in the hell was she thinking to be dealing with somebody who has an upside down cross in the middle of the forehead? You know, everybody knows clearly you don't have to be educated in occultism and witchcraft to understand that a cross upside down is backwardness towards Yeshua, supposedly, right? So she made the decision to get with this worthless individual, and she got her results because she was living in the fantasy realm of what's been marketed to her through the whole rap thing, that this is the new image of the superior thug or the superior alpha male. Okay. And this is very sad. This is ugly, you know, but this is where some people's brains are stuck at, you know, and or even this situation of this obese broad in Detroit who tries to classify herself as a rapper. And we have to watch this shit because I'm an MC. And, you know, personally, I don't like entertainment. And that's why it's very hard for me to entertain because, you know, I shut down any form of being entertained by strangers, you know, when I was a child. I shut that energy up. So I really don't know what somebody in the fame or admiring an entertainer, you know what I'm saying? I'll admire an entertainer's work, and I don't even admire it. I'll just say, you know, thumbs up or thumbs down, yay or nay. You know what I'm saying? It's good, it's some good shit, or it's not good shit. I don't put no admiration towards the individual. I'll put admiration towards the art that they put out. So I'm a little bit different in that mind space, you know. And it's not even, I don't even like the word admiration. I need to be using the word of a consideration of greatness. You know, I'll consider the greatness that, you know, an individual puts out. I'm not going to admire the individual. Okay. I don't have any of these mental issues of I need to look up to somebody. And I do look at that as a psychological problem. So it's very difficult for me to step down that realm, and because us as black folk, our culture, we don't protect what we look at as fine art. Definitely from what we've witnessed with what just happened with with my generation and the generations after mine, we definitely have lost any form of boundary or respect towards our greats. And there's been some very nasty stories that have come out online about what these quote unquote greats were doing behind closed doors. But I guess it needed to stay that way during the course of the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, and whatnot. We didn't really have any direct connection with so-called artists or actors or anybody in the, sports realm or like that, through a Twitter and all of that shit. We didn't see their everyday lives, you see. And the reason I had to be so long-winded with it is because we don't protect what a rapper is. We allow a lot of weak-ass niggas to come out here to claim themselves to be rappers. We allow a lot of retarded shit. There's some Russian dude that's in a fucking wheelchair that can't even speak clearly, and he's trying to rap, and they got music videos on all that shit, and it's a mockery towards what the art form of lyricism is. And us real MCs, we don't put any barrier line down of, no, nigga, you are a little Daryl, you cannot rap, go get a job, go contribute to society, you're not in this realm, and nor are you going to get any accolades that comes from being a rapper. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's hard for me to perform when you got a lot of weak ass, bitch ass niggas up here on the stage acting like they super throat. I don't want my music or my position or my name to be devalued by being in the same light or in the same room with a bunch of weak ass niggas who don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand? Okay, that is just the bottom line to it. Don't devalue yourself by thinking you're being some form of superior by hanging around with inferior ugly motherfuckers. You don't see ugly motherfuckers on the television, whether it's the president's secretary or his press secretary, whether it's newscasters, whether it's actors, actresses, whether it's rappers. Ugly motherfuckers do not succeed in front of the camera. And that's just the bottom line. Now, accept that litigation, especially when you're trying to be a so-called rapper or whatever the fuck. Now, they got this 500-pound obese woman who's trying to sue Lyft. They're classifying her as a rapper in front of the world. And, this is now another defamation that is aimed towards the black woman, but it's also aimed towards what the title of a rapper is, and this is what us other rappers allow. And that is the bottom line. You can see everything that I've been saying with the same shit that's going on with the immigration. And I explained it in my last video. You got one little micro situation that gets imploded into the human mind. The Venezuelans then took over this apartment complex, and now the human mind has collectively agreed that we need to get all Venezuelans out of the country. But I'm pretty sure that 95% of the Venezuelans in this country are probably working jobs and are trying to contribute and stay low and out the way. But we have seen a minor situation that makes them all look bad. This is the same thing with Colombians, Brazilians, Jamaicans, and every other immigrant that's here in America. You got a very small number that's out here committing crimes and doing the dumb shit, which makes them all look bad. Okay, and because you're all looking bad now, it is better for me and my responsibility as a president to keep the American people safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the clause called better safe than sorry. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and remove all of you motherfuckers because we don't know who is who and what is what. There is no, you came up here with the Mother Teresa and you pray 5 times to the east. We don't know if that's a barrier, if that is a cloak that you're trying to keep up to, make everybody think that you're some soft submissive rabbit out here. Nah, nigga, we gonna get rid of every goddamn body. So you better watch out how you carry yourself. And when it comes to the black males, if we're gonna go ahead and take this title of being a rapper serious, we need to take it serious and not allow any bitch ass nigga. And what was really crazy about this zone and the allowance of who comes in underneath the title of a rapper or who comes in, trying to speak for the so-called black race, or or even with the way our women battle us, and we're ending up in court and all of this other nonsense. There is no fear of God being struck on anybody for them to know that they cannot do certain things. You see what I'm saying? And the fear of God has to be put down. How is, in this day and age, it's going to have to be very tactical and very unified amongst black males. But these type of situations have been exhibited throughout history. And we were to compare, how strong and unified the white male's mind was during the course of them, burning their women up at the stake, and burning up witches in Europe. They did that shit for 400 years consistently. And that's what's so crazy about that space, is that they stayed unified, and they stayed, they stayed in support of the creed that enforced said situation, and they taught it to their children and made sure that their sons also knew to carry on the same mentality and activity of of punishing these women who are witches by the stake. They did that shit for 300, 400 years. They were in all agreements. All white males were in agreements for 300, 400 years when they did the slave trade. You understand? And their females were in agreements with them. And they did not break that cord of agreements until there was more inventions being pumped into society, and we came into our industrialization and modernization age, okay? And things started to look inhumane, and the only reason they started to look inhumane is because we have things like the camera, and we had situations like the newspaper that was being brought to the entire world, and people could see the activity of what's going on the other side of the world. You see, so when you are in agreement within your small community, and we've all agreed upon the consequences of certain laws, then brutality for your punishment is accepted, and we can all visualize that, and we can also celebrate it as what is witnessed throughout history, that we celebrate when our guilty are charged, okay, and they get charged with great amounts of embarrassment and public chastising and brutality, okay, and dismemberment and amputation and decapitation, if we're going to be literal with it, so when you see it outside of that space, it looks inhumane when it's on the cover of a newspaper and this and that. And Europeans understood that shit because they were the ones printing the newspapers, right? So they started to, put on the milkman uniform and, act like they had all types of products and toys for the children and all this other shit. And then before you know it, 20 years later, they got fucking Sesame Street and goddamn, Blue's Clues and a fucking purple dinosaur out here for your kids, and the Mr. Rogers. And these are the same motherfuckers that will skin your ass at the drop of a hat, just for suspecting that you did some type of crime. And they'll do that shit to their own too, as is well documented. Okay? So don't ever get the game fucked up that, those things can't be rebirthed onto this planet, because like I was listening to some complaints from some immigrants earlier, and it reminded me of a book that we had to read in elementary school. I think it was Anne Frank was the name of the book. Let me see if I can pull the title of the book up real quick. What was the name of the book? I think it was a Nazi book. Yeah, I don't know if it was Anne Frank or not. Oh yeah, I think it was The Diary of Anne Frank or something. I think this was the name of the book. Talking about how the Germans were hiding Jews during the course of the Nazis going door to door and inspecting homes and dragging the Jews out and taking them to concentration camps. I mean, hey, it's a similarity, I guess. There's some parallels there, you know, with what we're experiencing, what we're witnessing with these immigrants and whatnot. But hey, that's just the name of the game. You put yourself in that position, and it's kind of crazy because it boils back to this micro macro situation where you got these individuals all across the world who are looking at great America through their television, and they say, I want to be there and I can prove myself to be amongst the line of the elites in America who have provided all of these great inventions and these conveniences to grow. And they're so embedded in their own mind of having good representation in America instead of your whole nation having representation. That bitch ass nigga Myron from the Fresh and Fit, you have no position to come to America and talk about no African Americans doing a goddamn thing. When in Sudan, they're having a famine right now, and that's where the fuck you're from. So take your ass back to Sudan and teach all of those people the great tactics that you learned with being in the feds here in America and all the things about the podcast. Set your podcast up in Sudan and see if your shit gets the numbers that it's getting here in America. Don't come up here trying to devalue our women, and don't come up here trying to talk shit to our women or devalue our culture because we operate within the function lines that we operate. You are no boss hog, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You are no boss, my nigga. So when it comes to a lot of these individuals who come from these other countries, and it's just like what's going on in India right now. 65% of the world's open defecation, that means you're shitting outside behind your bush, is going on in a rural India. So fix that shit over there before you come over here talking that goddamn shit. Okay? You fix your fucking problems over there in your nation before you come over here to America talking some shit. And if you can't fix what's going on in your nation, well, then you default into all the shithole comments that our presidents make. You default into that animal space. You know what I'm saying? There's one dude that's interviewing Africans that are in Europe right now, and saying, why are you in Europe, nigga? What's going on in Africa? You don't want to be in Nigeria. You don't want to. It's like, oh, you must visit. Yeah, visit, nigga, because visiting and living in one area are two completely different things, So you get to really learn the culture when you move there. If you go to a location on this planet and you haven't been there for a minimum of 2-3 years consistently, I mean, every day living there, you do not know the culture. You are doing shit. Okay, basically what you're doing on your vacation is you're coming there, you're using the bathroom, and then you're leaving. That's all you're really doing. You're going there, you're eating some fucking food, and then you fucking use the bathroom, take a shower, and then you're leaving. You don't know nothing about that culture and how they truly operate, because the people that are in the hotels or whatever, the janitors and the maids and all of that shit, they got on their fake ass cloak of trying to get some tourist money out of you and all this other shit. So, nigga, watch your motherfucking mouth when it comes to this American shit. There's a lot of rappers that are immigrants, here in America, and they want to try to look down upon us because of whatever gang structures that we have, and then your homeland is trying to duplicate what gang structures we have and all of that, because you're really in all reality, you're trying to look for some form of popularity to, get your accolades, because you don't have a monetary system in your country that you can truly depend upon. You see what I'm saying? So you have to try to develop some form of violence or some form of you have to develop a form of fear in the people, which is also aligned with the popularity in order for you to get your accolades. Like what's going on right now over there in Rwanda. You know what I'm saying? They got some gang over there shooting up the whole goddamn nation, shooting up the neighboring nation, and you don't have proper infrastructure and none of that shit, but motherfuckers feel as if they have enough anger to kill and destroy their own, when you don't even have a military that can stand up anywhere against the world. Okay, so a lot of people need to fucking check themselves in the space of reality, before you come fucking around over here in America, because America has developed and has evolved off of the space of accepting truths and realities. Okay, and for instance, black people right now in America who are deeply in the areas of fear because they think there's some racist situation of developing inside the government and whatnot. And I don't think that's there. I mean, it could be there, but what you have to understand about racism is that racism is actually interwoven into nature. Okay, so you'll never see, a hawk helping a falcon. That's racism, right? They're both birds, right? Right. So, I've never seen, what is it? What is it called? The great white shark swimming with hammerhead sharks. Is that not racism? They're both sharks, right? So we're both humans, black, white, and Mexican. But if I'm not merging with the Mexican racism, right? Or I'm not merging with the white man, it's so-called racism, right? But guess what? That is what's embedded in how nature operates. So you can't get mad at white people for operating types of nature, and you can't get mad at them for operating because you don't impose this by like a bitch with the hold on, down. I don't know. And the roads of name you identify how many. Hey, black people don't want to abide by the laws of nature, and may be fully uneducated about and into space of understanding natural law. Yeah. Until I think that and understand how they're moving. Yo, things is getting choppy up in here. Yeah, I know it's messing up. What's going on? I find my wife. I should be. Because it is. I'm going to put you for that. Y'all have to be here on Monday. Okay, y'all gonna have to see me here on Monday and be in central law position support. I will get this whole year and get a bunch of free all this game for free. Game I've been spitting over years, and this is where my reality fantasy line is at. Way more people than people that help me, and that's gonna be my definition of assistant observation of assisting without reciprocation, you know, even love not get back. So that's the fantasy reality space with me, the space natural law. I don't know. Nothing, and I've been giving a lot of love for nothing. For you and clip it for today because this shit is messing in books the kid and get black man's Bible, get literature. And I wrote it so people can have so race can better, obviously, and we can have a better response coming from society. That is the baseline of where I've done everything that I've done pertaining to the book, videos, and whatnot. You know, but those who don't comprehend natural law and don't comprehend reciprocation is definitely out of the picture. So you know, due to that, and I gotta go out here and make it on my own. I can't tell y'all to expect videos every day because I gotta move in a different light now. You know, I've always tried to stay ahead of the game, and I'm one of those who are connected to me to also stay ahead of the game. So you know, you'll see me when you see me on here. That's all I can truly say about it. You know, yeah, natural law is the bottom line, and you can't be crying and bickering. It's not going to be allowed anymore. You have to be in the space of natural law and depend upon your kind creed, and that is what all beings on this planet do, except for African Americans here in America. You know, like I've always stated, you can send any race inside of Walmart to get a full course dinner, and they can go to, you know, products that are created by their racial group, and they can come out with a full course dinner. And guess what? Black people could too, because there's many different food distribution companies that are inside the local Walmart. But guess what? We're not even unified enough to know which one of them they are. So that just is a real disgust space for all of us. That's just the bottom line. The reality to it is that I'm getting too much support, and Negroes make bad decisions, and we can see this with voting for Kamala. You align with Feather because you identify with losers. You identify with the Umar Johnson who robbed you. You identify with loser niggas. You identify with niggas who end up being birds behind closed doors, and that is where the black mind is at. So they're backward thinkers, and in that backward thinking space, you're going to find consequences for it. Calling everybody a racist and thinking they should feel guilty or be guilt tripped by being called a racist. It does nothing, and you really think it does. And then all you're looking for is an apology. You're not demanding any form of payout from the atrocities that have occurred. You know, you think you can file some papers amongst individuals who swing swords, and that's not going to happen. So basically, it's a mockery. You make yourself look bad in the space of the mockery. That's all there is to it. This is natural law. You don't find red ants helping black ants. You don't find chimpanzees helping orangutans. They won't even put these. They don't even. When you go to the zoo, you don't find these animals who are of the same species in the same cage. Okay, so that should tell you right there, you know, that they're not unified. You need not be unified with others, and the compassion is not a mandate inside our social structures, and that's in between all beings on the planet. You know, the only true compassion that you see in the animal kingdom is the mother to the child. Besides that, there's very minimal passion in between the father and the child, or even the father and the wife, the father and the mother. You know, I'm a Leo, but in lions, you do see that compassion, so it's a little different for me, but everybody else doesn't have it, So this is just the reality. We got to deal with it. You got to accept it for what it is and stop wishing for the fantasy bullshit, because you will get hurt within that space. When your brain collapses that there is no reality, you can plummet into a straitjacket and into the insane asylum. The psych ward is where you will end up, So yeah, that's it for today. The shit is acting choppy and shit. I don't want to do that. Go ahead and donate, like, subscribe, share, heart, do all that shit, because that is natural law. As I'm supporting you with this information, you support me back, and that's how it works. I got the donation link. Hit the Cash App, buy the books, go to the Millennium DVDs, and we are out of here. Yeah, ain't nobody aging, nobody nothing up in comments. What the fuck am I chilling here for then? So I'm gonna get up out of here, and y'all get at me. I might be here on Monday. Might not be. Your alarm clock set for 2:00. All right. Peace.
By any means necessary. That's why I carry. By any means necessary. That's why I carry. Shouts out to X at the window with the gun. Or was it the Tech 9 and KRS-One? When is the best time to make your ops run? Make they so fly. Keep my 45 looking like the FOI. Hollow rounds that sound just like a war cry. Should've stayed down, cause now it's crunch time. When I walk away and take everything that's mine, sacrifice your fate when you dropping a dime. The silver-tongued devil drinking from the grapevine. The anger on this level can be called the hate crime. Justified before I'm tried, guess that's fine. How a nigga gon' provide and he ain't got spine? These begging ass niggas that ain't got no grind. That's why I drop a stack on the Krishna shrine. I keep one in the chamber and a switch on my 9. Then my victims stand in line. They gotta take a number and better bring a lunch. Full moon, I'm under with a werewolf's hunt. My witches got intuition and riches on the hunch. My family's a dynasty, they all get a cut. We don't believe in luck. The miracles are literal with physical bucks. Tinted windows invisible in that Maybach truck. Can't be seen. 21st century on that gangster lean. Puffing on the finest green. Then I get away clean. They eyes wide shut just like fentanyl fiends. And once they open up, it's the end of your dreams. I'm a solo nigga, known for taking whole teams. But I'll tell you one thing. By any means necessary. That's why I carry. By any means necessary. That's why I carry.